Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're jumping into what is, without a doubt, the single most important skill for any manager, communication. And I don't just mean talking. I mean the engine that actually powers your team and gets results. So take a guess. How much of a manager's day is really spent communicating? Well, the answer might surprise you. Studies show it's at least 80% of their time. Think about that. That's nearly 48 minutes of every single hour spent talking, listening, and connecting. And that leads to a pretty big question, right? If communication is literally what we're doing all day, why does it so often feel like the biggest point of failure? The scale of this communication breakdown is honestly staggering. One survey found that only 9% of employees feel like they actually know what's going on at their company. Just 9%. That means 9 out of 10 people you work with probably feel like they're working in the dark. You know, this disconnect isn't just a vague feeling. It has a real cost. It hits productivity, it crushes morale. But here's the good news. Closing that gap is the most powerful move a manager can make. So let's build the playbook to turn you into a communication champion. Okay, first things first, we have to completely reframe how we think about this. Communication isn't some fluffy, soft skill. It's the absolute core, the fundamental function of management. When you boil it all down, your real job as a manager is to direct your team's focus, influence them to act on shared goals, and, create a space where good conversations can actually happen. It's the tool you use to turn an idea on a slide into real-world action. So effective communication isn't just about broadcasting information out there and hoping for the best. No, it's a dynamic system. It's a two-way process. Let's look really closely at this definition, because the key words are everything. It says information is exchanged and, critically, understood. The whole point isn't just to talk. It's to make sure the message lands, so you can actually influence and motivate your team. See, communication happens in a loop. A sender, that's you, encodes an idea into words and sends it out. The receiver has to decode it. But here's the catch. Things can go wrong at every single step of that process. And that's exactly why that final step, feedback, is so essential. Without it, you're just guessing if they got the message. All right, let's get practical. How does this theory actually play out in your day-to-day? Well, at the heart of great communication is simply mastering the art of the conversation. I love this quote from Judith McKenna at Walmart. She literally turned around struggling stores just by going out and talking to people. It says it all, doesn't it? The most important conversational skill isn't talking, it's listening. Your team almost always has the answers if you're just willing to hear them. The difference really comes down to one thing: being passive versus being active. A poor listener is passive. They're just kind of waiting for their turn to talk. A good listener is active. They're fighting off distractions, they're listening for the main idea, and they let the other person finish. Your goal should be to understand, not just to respond. So once you've truly listened, the next step is to ask great questions. And this isn't an interrogation, right? Asking questions shows you're engaged, it builds trust, and it helps your team develop their own critical thinking skills by guiding them to the solution instead of just handing it over. And the final piece of the conversation puzzle is candor. Now, this can be tough, but it's so important. Candor is not about being brutal or using it as an excuse to be a jerk. It's about being clear and honest while still respecting the person you're talking to. It's the kind of feedback people can actually use to grow. So you've mastered the what and the how of your message. Now we gotta focus on the where. Choosing the right channel to communicate can be just as important as the message itself. We measure a channel's effectiveness with this idea called channel richness. Just think of it like this. A rich channel can carry a ton of information, not just the words, but also tone, body language, and emotion. A lean channel, it carries way less. So it's no surprise that face-to-face communication is by far the richest channel. It's the gold standard. It gives you multiple cues, body language, tone, and you get immediate feedback. That makes it absolutely essential for any complex, nuanced, or emotional topic, where the risk of being misunderstood is high. And this leads us to a crucial rule. Never, ever use a lean channel for a rich conversation. If you're angry, if you're delivering criticism, or if you're apologizing, email or text is the absolute wrong tool for the job. The lack of cues can turn a simple message into a total disaster. Pick up the phone, or even better, talk in person. Okay, let's bring this all together. Why does mastering this playbook matter so much? What is the actual real-world payoff for getting this right? Well, when you start putting all these pieces together, you understand the loop, you master your conversations, you choose your channels wisely, you stop being just a manager of tasks. You become a true leader, someone who drives performance through connection and clarity. And believe me, this has a direct impact on the bottom line. One major study found that companies with highly effective communication delivered 47% higher total returns to shareholders over 5 years. 47%! Better communication literally equals better results. That 47% isn't an accident. It's the natural result of a workplace where people are aligned, trust is high, and problems get solved quickly because information actually flows freely. That, right there, is the ultimate competitive advantage. So here's the single most important thing to take away from all this. Make it real. Don't just think about these ideas, put them into action. So based on everything we've covered, what is one conversation you're going to have differently tomorrow? How will you listen more actively, or ask a better question, or choose a richer channel? That one small change? That's where it all begins.